Barrasso.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Bowman, to this question of LNG exports, in your testimony you noted that the President's Council on Economic Advisors issued a report in February. Madam Chairman, I'd like to introduce that report for the record. It discussed the benefits of LNG exports. Could you just briefly explain exactly what President Obama's economic advisors had to say about LNG exports?
Sure. So they noted many benefits to the export of LNG, one of which was that with LNG exports coming from the United States to other areas of the world, it's going to increase domestic production. So all of the economic benefits that comes from increased production will flow back to the United States economy. Additionally, it found that by the U.S. exporting to the global marketplace, it would reduce LNG prices worldwide, which really creates some geopolitical advantages to the United States because we become a much larger player in the energy landscape of the world. Additionally, it talked about when LNG from the U.S. is used regionally across the world and it's displacing coal generation, that it has the opportunity for emission reductions. I think the one thing that the Council didn't talk about, but there was a study done by the National Energy Technology Laboratory where it's not just about displacing regional coal across the world, but rather also regional gas from Russian pipelines, because their pipelines are very leaky. And by delivering U.S. LNG to Europe and to Asia, you actually have a net GHG benefit.
Thank you.
But additionally to that, one thing too that while they talked about the increased domestic production, they also mentioned that the U.S. manufacturing renaissance would not be hurt by the start of U.S. LNG exports. And I think one thing that can be offered with respect to that too is that when you increase your domestic production of natural gas, you're also bringing up natural gas liquids as co-products. And because you're increasing the supply of those natural gas liquids, you're basically creating a more stable price for those feedstocks to the U.S. manufacturing companies, which really leads to stability and encourages the renaissance that we're seeing.
Great. Thank you so much. I also wanted to touch on my Bill S-411, the Natural Gas Gathering Enhancement Act, and related legislation. The fact is the United States, I think, needs more oil and gas pipelines. We're the world's largest producer of oil and gas, and we need a safe and reliable way to transport this energy to market, as a number of you have testified. We need more pipelines where oil and gas is produced in states like Wyoming, North Dakota, but we also need more pipelines where the oil and gas is consumed, including New England. I think it's fair to say that the permitting process that we've heard today for pipelines is broken. After more than 6.5 years, we still don't have a decision on the Keystone XL pipeline. This is absurd. But over the last 5 years, we've seen significant amounts of natural gas vented and flared in states like North Dakota, while New England continues to experience a shortage of natural gas as a result of the highest, and this has resulted in some of the highest energy prices in the country. So Senators Heitkamp, Hoeven, Enzi, and I have tried to address this problem by making it easier to capture natural gas that would otherwise be vented and flared. The bipartisan bill expedites the permitting process, gives some certainty for natural gas gathering lines. I think it's critically important. So my question, Ms. Bowen, is would you discuss some of the obstacles that oil and gas producers are facing today when siting gathering lines on federal and Indian land?
Sure, and really the main obstacle there is the timeline for the permits. So the right-of-way permits traditionally have taken about 4 to 6 months. And then you have these sundry permits as well. They're a little bit less intensive, and they historically have taken around 2 to 4 months to get through the approval process, or the permitting process, I should say. But recently, those times have significantly increased to more than doubling. So you're waiting 12 to 14 months, and you're waiting up to a year for a sundry permit approval. And given that in these areas that you have a lot of co-products coming from the well, so you may be actually directing your well towards oil. You will drill that well. You don't have the gathering lines in place, and so you are flaring that associated gas. Well, that doesn't lead to anything good in any real way because you're denying the consumers the benefits that come with natural gas. So by basically increasing your permitting time while maintaining the proper review process, you're able to deliver a very clean fuel to customers that delivers cost savings and environmental benefits as well as energy security. So it makes a lot of sense to get the permits moved through the process as quickly as can be given the timelines that are currently there.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.